All right, well, this is a house that I built. It's a spec house. I finished it about 2 years ago. It's still a little bit of a work in progress. I'm doing some landscaping on it currently. But this is a spec house. It's a spec Earthship. I tried to, give it some kind of modern aesthetic on the outside and some clean details on the inside. And so it's got the nickname Little House because it's just a one-bedroom house on a large piece of property. So let's go inside. Okay, well, here's the south side of Little House. This is a solar greenhouse right here, or the solar front face. The sunlight comes in to those large panes of glass, and the roof kicks up to allow the sunlight to penetrate deeply into the interior space. I put the solar array kind of right in front of the house because I didn't want to mount it on the house, although I've gotten some criticism about it being obstructing the view to the south when you're inside. But then the front, I've just built a small little bermed area because the kitchen counters are right inside on the front, so I had to build that. Instead of the glass coming near to the ground, I built a tire wall up and then bermed that and heavily insulated that tire wall there. So, and then that silver box over there is part of the water collection. It's called a scupper. All the water from the roof comes off of that large white area, which is a large gutter, goes into that scupper and then goes through a pipe back into the cisterns buried in the north berm. Welcome. Well, here we are. This is the entryway. And it's a small house. As I said, it was nicknamed Little House. Basically, what you see is what you get here. It's almost a studio because the bedroom is right there, which spills out into the living and dining area. There could and should be a dining room table right here, but just haven't put it in yet. Here's the kitchen. It's got polished concrete countertops with a bunch of recycled black glass in it and some seashells from Florida that my kids had collected. And so this countertop can heat up pretty hot in the winter, so you don't want to leave your butter on here. But anyway, this was, the concrete countertops are intentional as part of the heating system of the house. The sunlight hits them, they heat up, and they re-radiate that heat back into the space. A salvaged propane stove. For now, a salvaged propane refrigerator out of an RV. This is sized. The opening for the fridge is sized for a DC Sunfrost refrigerator. Large posts and large beams to help hold up the roof here. This is all from our local mill, just sanded and took the bark end off to keep a natural edge. There's some welded metal brackets to hold the post and beam work together. That was welded in my welding shed with the solar electricity. This may be obvious, but these are the tire walls with a natural mud plaster with straw, an adobe mud plaster. Down below is a CMU wall, or a concrete masonry unit wall, reinforced concrete masonry unit wall, just because I hadn't excavated all the way down to the ground and I wanted to retain that earth. And I capped it with a concrete pour that goes all the way around, easy to clean, easy to wipe off. You see a propane heater here, just a little backup heater in case the house gets a little chilly. So this is the living room. And so then we have the bedroom. I'm going to be building a sliding barn door to enclose the bedroom space. It's a pretty ample bedroom, and tire wall once again. Tire wall goes behind the closet. These closet doors are just made simply with 1x4s and plywood backs, and then metal steel that I just left out in the rain and cut to fit as panels inside, and then I just sealed them with a clear sealer. So just closet space inside here. So that skylight just opens with this rope and a pulley and a cam cleat right here. And we'll just keep it closed. So, you know, just the closet doors here. And so all lighting is also 12 volt, low voltage, fluorescent here, and there's LED lights, and there's also AC outlets up above that you can plug in conventional lamps if you'd like. So anyway, so this is the bedroom, and once again just poured concrete floor and with some control joints. They didn't.
Why concrete?
Cost effective. And it's a thermal mass. I wanted a thermal mass so when the sun comes in, it hits the concrete and warms up the space. But I had some cracking issues. There's also there's insulation underneath. Well, let me try to remember. The slab is about 4 to 5 inches thick. Below that, in the back space here, is 1 inch rigid with reflective foil insulation, then the reinforcing fiber mesh over the whole slab. But there's a radiant floor loop in the floor in case somebody ever wanted to hook up solar radiant heating. And underneath this panel is the manifold for the radiant floor loops here, supply lines, and supply lines of the loops. There's a loop in the kitchen and a loop in the living room here, and then just hidden by a small little metal flush panel there. This is an older inverter or modified sine wave. It's going to be upgraded to a sine wave in a month. But you got your DC and AC load centers and DC disconnect right here, and your charge controller. And then this is an external battery charger, which you can plug into a generator if your batteries are ever low. And I'm going to be building doors here in a little while and adding a washing machine right here as well, because this is the house we're moving into. So then we have the bathroom. We have a concrete countertop in here, and sink in the toilet, and can walls, and passive solar heated, and then then we have an on-demand hot water heater right there, and vented to the outside with combustion air pipes in the back, and that runs off of propane. There's not solar hot water here. And then we have the water pump and filtration system in this closet with a whole manifold system for supply lines over here. And that's pretty much why it's called Little House. It's just a small, efficient little house that was affordable to build. I built it in my spare time in a little less than 2 years, just evenings and weekends, and hired a couple guys here and there just to help me do some plaster work and pour the slabs and pound some tires. But pretty much it was mostly me just doing it. Very achievable house. I kept it simple. And about $100 a square foot building cost. Labor is a big cost, and there aren't fancy materials in here. Like the concrete countertop. It's a nice countertop because it's all my own labor. This would have cost about $100 to $110 a square foot if I was to build it for someone else. But the materials and the formwork cost me about $70. So, but it took me about 5 days to make, 4 to 5 days to make. So if I was to sell this off to somebody else, right here is about 8 or 10 square feet. It would have cost somebody $1,000, but it cost me $70 because I own all the tools. I did all the labor. I wasn't paying myself to work here. It was my spare time. The sink was a sink that came from a leftover from a friend's job that I bought for $10. This is a $140 sink. This faucet was a from the restore, and that was brand new. That was an extra from a building. I got it for $15. That's a $65 sink. So if you look for the bargains, you can find them in your materials too. These tiles were seconds. They were about $2 a square foot from a local tile supplier. Usually it's about $11 a square foot. And this stone, this is a flagstone that was left over from a patio job that was given to me. You know, just 2 pieces of stone that I just grinded and polished. And so if I was to pay somebody to do that and set all the tiles, it would cost me a lot of money. I'd be paying a tile setter $30 or $35 an hour. But since I just did it, you know, in a couple evenings, it didn't cost me really any money besides adhesive and grout and sealer. And so, and the tile itself, and I'm not paying high labor costs.